there's so much to talk about, and I don't even know where to begin. I feel like the tides are changing, the winds are shifting. I lost my dark urge, but that has nothing to do with this show or this podcast. We will not discuss that. We will not discuss my shame, my embarrassment. But today, we do talk about RPGs and they're RPGs. More details of games that were talked about at the Game Awards. Potentially a new update for Baldur's Gate 3 looming on the horizon. We look to the future today, my friends, because the past is well behind us. To arms, my great warriors. Today we discuss our war plans. I could probably, fire a couple people up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. I don't want to like take part in any wars or
you know
battles,
what?
But I'd be okay with like just firing some people up for it, you know what I mean?
I don't want to like brag or anything, but we might have the best intros in podcasting, hands down. I mean, am I a little biased? Maybe. But it's.
The point is just to bring the mood up.
Bring them in.
I mean?
You gotta bring them in. Bring
the mood up. You know what I mean? We're trying. We got a lot to talk about. This is all about. It's just just positive vibes. That's how we start the show. Positive vibes.
Positive vibes.
Good God. The amount of people making fun of me in my death clip is not funny.
Okay.
You guys are supposed to be laughing with me, not at me.
that was you know what? You handled it on screen a lot better than I would have. You were like, you kind of laughed and like, oh yeah, that sucks. I know inside it was just like a boiling rage just coming up.
Do you know what? It wasn't really a rage as much more of it was just like a, well, that's done.
Yeah.
like there's just like, it's gone, man. It just dropped to the bottom of the well, proverbially and literally in that sense. Yeah. It's so funny too because like there's a bunch of comments from other people there's a bunch of comments from people in the community that are watching, like people that have been watching the streams and stuff, which by the way, huge thanks to everybody that's been showing up to the streams. It's been a lot of fun. Every stream has been a blast. But it's just like the people are like, oh my, like this dude absolutely like dunked on every boss up until this point. Like there's a couple scares here and there, but most of those are just like odd encounters and stuff. And it's just like, I just killed the Githyanki general in one turn, just obliterated him. And then I died to a trap.
It's so good.
Mind you, it was midnight. I'm like, this is when what I was going to do was I was going to go get the mace. And then I was going to end the stream. I was like, guys, this is really good. Next stream, we're going into Act 2. That was it. It was the last thing I had to do. All I had to do was get the mace and then go to Act 2. It was just like, nope.
Not going to happen.
Yeah. For my stream goers, the people that have been along the stream journey, letting you guys know I've been hard at work speed running Baldur's Gate 3, attempting to get somewhat close to that same area, at least kind of ish. Most of the overworld stuff is almost wrapped up already. So, yeah,
that's dedication.
Within about 4 hours, I think I got all the way through most of the stuff. They just need to do the goblin encampment and the witches stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back to it, and hopefully you guys aren't praying for my downfall. Surely.
Sure.
Sure.
I mean, this is his first try.
Yeah,
this is the one he's bringing. It's the first try.
No, it's actually called The Dark Urge 2. That's what the name is.
The Dark Urge as well.
Yeah, The Dark Urge 2. Yeah. Actually, I should have named it The Dark Urge Returns or something like that, but I don't know. Maybe that'll be for the next one, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. I just couldn't believe that it was 29 hours just gone.
Yeah, just gone.
I remember Jackie was in chat and she's just like, continue in Dishonor, and I'm like, no, I deleted the save. It gives you an option. It says continue in Dishonor, so you can continue to play in honor mode difficulty, but without the achievement, or you can delete the save. And I play legit up in here, okay? I saw a few people that were actually applauding that. They're like, you know what, man? You actually could have glitched that, and you know, but good thing you didn't. And I'm like, wow. I didn't know how to. But
yeah, it's just because he didn't know. Well, I played a couple games this week.
Yeah.
Alan Wake 2, which I started on your stream and scared myself and everyone in the chat by screaming out of nowhere. Apparently, I haven't played a scary game in a while, and I'm kind of a little bitch. So... yeah, it's pretty scary. It's a pretty scary game, pretty cool.
I could have probably told you that.
Yeah, about the scary game or the other part. Okay, all right, we'll move on. Move on. I picked up Squad 44, which is it's a World War II version of Squad. They bought the people who make Squad bought this other game, and they've renamed it Squad 44, and they've done a lot of updates to make it better. So it's a World War II, kind of like Battlefield. Yeah, it's kind of like Battlefield. Is the best way to put it.
Okay.
So I played a little bit of that. Then I saw that Square Enix has a winter sale going on Steam, and I picked up a couple gems for cheap. I think I got 2 or 3 games for about $10.
That kind of flew under the radar. I got a notification on Steam letting me know that Harvestella and Final Fantasy VII, the one with Zach, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. That one also popped up on sale. So if you guys are PC players and are in the chat, there is a secret Square Enix sale going on right now. So you can snag up a bunch of Final Fantasy titles or whatever other stuff you're looking to play. Crisis Core, thank you. That's exactly what it is. Space Channel 5 also said Alan Wake 2 is on sale for $21 on the Epic Store right now. So
it is. I got it for $23, I think, is what I paid for it, with taxes and all. It's kind of sad. That game, from what I understand, is not selling very well. Game of the year that's not selling very well because it's on PC. It's strictly Epic Store.
That's what my assumption is that that it's not selling well because it's on Epic. I think you take a major hit when you go to sell on the Epic Game Store rather than Steam. I don't know how many of you guys in chat are like this, but if you're a PC player, you just want to use one place to have all your games. You don't want to have 50 launchers with all these different places to play games. I mean, I've even gotten in the habit of I recently just canceled Xbox Game Pass, but even I've gotten in the habit of just like, you know what, I'm just gonna put this stuff on Steam.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll just 100%. Buy the game if I want to play it. Maybe something like when I did have Game Pass, I was buying it on I would try it on Game Pass, and then I would just go buy it somewhere else. Because the biggest issue with these subscription services like Game Pass, like they can just take the game down. Yep. You know, like you could be playing it and then like, oh, I'm gonna put it down for a while, go play something else, and then all of a sudden it's gone. So, yeah. Speaking of actually Game Pass, did you see Larian's comment about Game Pass?
Yeah. It was a discussion that we had because we were talking about, what are they going to say at the Game Awards? And I was like, the Xbox game's out. And you're like, it could be Game Pass. And we were both like, it could be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is that that wasn't necessarily, that wasn't necessarily me thinking that Larian would want it. It's that Xbox would fork over the cash for it.
Yeah.
Because it's game of the year. It's the one everybody wants to see, everybody wants to check out. There's a ton of people, and I guarantee there's a ton of people that have still not played Baldur's Gate 3 because they're hesitant on whether or not they'll like a turn-based game or a CRPG. They're still there. regardless of how many of their friends are like, dude, just play it. I'm sure there's still a fair amount of people that are still like, I don't know, man. I don't know whether I would like something like this. And Game Pass would actually have that option for them to just give it a shot to see if it's something they'd be interested in or not. But I did not expect the reply from Sven Vinka, because he just came out and said, he's just like, look, this is the way, like, Baldur's Gate 3 is a game that is worth your money.
Yep.
That's it. We're not going to put it on any service or anything like that. This is a game. It's a very big game. It's a game that provides a significant amount of value, and we think that it is sold at a fair price.
Yeah. I mean, like, hands down, just shuts it down, which is so weird. I gotta kind of commend them, and I kind of wish they kind of wouldn't. So they're answering these questions because, like, Twitter or, you know, whatever, like, these fans coming up, is it going to be on Game Pass? Then the media calls them, hey, is this game going to be on Game Pass? Like, and if they give them like, because what'll happen is let's say Kotaku goes and asks them, and then they said they don't, it's like no comment. They're gonna be like, we asked them if it was gonna be on Game Pass, and they said no comment, so now it's coming out. You know what I mean? It's gonna be on Game Pass. So yeah. I get heading it off, but I don't feel like they should be responsible to have to do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so weird.
Yeah, it's a really weird position that some platforms or some studios get put into. But it also, I think, the thing is that, and I don't think Sven meant this as a shot across the bow for Game Pass or anything like that. But the hint there is that no, our game has too much value to be put on a subscription service.
Yeah.
And actually, like, and I really do believe that, because even you had mentioned before, you said you have like hundreds of hours in Game Pass over a bunch of different games, but it not that much investment over all those games. And I don't feel like there's a whole lot of value in these subscription services. It's a lot of throwaway games that are on there, a lot of budget games. Yep.
I mean, I think what they did their little year-end review thing, which I was hoping our Steams would be available. That was fun last time we did that last year. But
we'll get that over the first of the year.
Yeah, I had like 500 and something hours, 520, somewhere around there, over like 82 games, and you know, 90 hours of that was Vampire Survivor, 45 of it was Destiny 2.
I should have never told you about that game.
65 of it was Starfield. I mean, that's already a third, and 3 games into 87 is not a very good percentage.
Game. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was a lot of games that I started and were like, nope, uninstall. Nope, uninstall. You know what I mean? Just weren't very good.
Yeah.
And and a little bit, I think it has a lot to do with like buffet. It's just like the buffet, right? You make your plate, you eat, and then you go get another plate full of food, and you only eat a little bit of it, right? Because you already paid the price for all the food, so you're just gonna waste whatever. And so. Yeah. Game Pass is a buffet to where I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take a little nibble of this. Oh, just a bite, throw it away. Didn't like it. You know what I mean? So it's. I think it has a lot like that to do with it.
Yeah. I see North is saying like starting map from Act 1. I don't know, man. Like the problem is like giving a demo for a game like Baldur's Gate 3. Like, how much would you even give somebody? You know what I mean? Like, you can't give them because you're talking about basically giving them Act 1 almost. Yeah. And that's already handling somebody like, oh, here's a demo and it's 35, 40 hours of gameplay. Yeah. So I think it'd be really difficult to like provide a demo for Baldur's Gate 3 because like, let's say, okay, they just do the Nautiloid ship. That's not enough.
No,
that's not enough for you to get an idea of whether or not you're going to like it. There's only there's like 4 encounters and 2 of them are optional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's 4 encounters. 2 of them are optional. There's the people that are in the chairs at the very beginning. You can attack them, and then there's like the Intellect Devourer that you could attack. There's the imps at the very beginning, and then there is the actual fight to get off of the ship, right? So like, but still, even that's not enough because you're not getting a taste of like the spells, and it's a slow burn game. It's not a game that you can really convey with a demo. And to be honest, I don't think people need a fucking demo. It's game of the year. It's incredibly fucking popular. It's just not necessary. Yeah, if you need, I don't know what other proof that you need. The game has gotten 9s and 10s across the board. Like, just play the game. Just play it. Buy it.
You could have gotten a very cheap demo of it 3 years ago, and already had the game purchased. You know what I mean?
got Baldur's Gate 3 for $30 3 years ago. And I've been playing Baldur's Gate, the demo, for 3 years. Yeah. So
I also noticed something really smart that Xbox did. Is they put Pillars of Creation on their homepages for your Game Pass. So they brought it back up to like, oh, this just came out, like the definitive edition of whatever, and it didn't. It's been out. It's been on Game Pass for the whole time. But so they're starting to put that up. With coming off the steam of Baldur's Gate 3, you know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, so you look, here's one you can try for free if you get in the Game Pass. You know, that's pretty smart marketing on their part.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think. So for Baldur's Gate, like continuing with some of the news and some of the other things that we've seen from it so far. One of the things that I've seen recently that popped up was there was kind of a cryptic tweet that came from one of the folks that are over on either it's the localization team or their production team, and what they've been talking about is there's something else that's really big in the works, and I don't think that's the holiday thing they're doing, because did you see that as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so like in case chat doesn't know for some odd reason, I can try to pull it up. There's a holiday event for Baldur's Gate 3 that they have that's going on right now. Holiday event. And basically what it is we can go to like a little mini website, play a little mini game. They did something kind of similar before the game came out. It was like a mystery, solve thing for the Baldur's Mouth for the what the hell is it called? My brain's not working. Help me out here. Yours isn't either. Okay.
Yes.
So it was basically some type of like mystery thing where you're solving something for the Baldur's Mouth. It was like a murder or something like that.
Yeah, it's like a murder. It was a murder mystery.
Yeah, it was a murder mystery kind of thing. So they're doing something similar right now. You can head over to Larian's website and you guys can kind of play around with it from there. It's just some digital fun that you guys get to have. But I don't think that's actually what they're working on right now. One of the things that I've been really impressed with Baldur's Gate, and I feel that a lot of other studios. Oh, you're not there again. Why does this always happen?
No, that's me. I am the jug. Oh.
One of the things that's really impressed me with Baldur's Gate ever since it was released is their continued support of this game is mind-blowing.
It is. It's phenomenal.
It's like I brought it up in a video like a few videos ago where I said they're supporting this game more than most live service games are supporting their own.
Yeah.
And that's not even like that's not even partially like lying. That's just truth.
No, that's the truth. It's like
they're releasing more content than Destiny 2, and they're not
settling. You know what I mean? They're not
going game.
Well, I think the best thing Destiny did, or Bungie did for their community, was delay their next patch until June of 2024. So, Larian, they're not settling. You know what I mean? They're not settling. They know it could be better. Like, even if it's just incremental, it can be better. It can be better. It can be better. So, yeah, it's really nice to see, instead of them just saying, "All right, that one's done. Give us the next thing," and we're going on.
So I guess one of my things is that, like, what else is there that they could do? What else could they be hiding in the background that they could be adding to the game? And it's not going to be anything extravagant like us going to another area, unless maybe opening up there's no way that they would be opening up the upper city.
Upper city, I don't think so.
But the map is there. The assets are there. That's the thing. Like, it's in the game. It's in the game. It's just not, the assets just aren't being used. There's just we just can't go into that area. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they could, I mean, technically they could move where you go to get to the Elder Brain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then so now you have to go to the upper city to do so. I mean, they could. But
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you,
You
I
also
don't know
need
how.
to be careful of spoilers. We just had people that just started playing the game.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm more concerned, honestly, about the level of character because I don't want a whole new area, and then I'm still just level 12. You know what I mean?
I think that depends widely on how challenging they make that area. You know what I mean? Like have you played honor mode at all yet or no?
Yes.
Okay. Have you fought anything that has legendary actions?
No, not yet. I just started it.
Legendary actions add a level of difficulty to the game that is unexpected. I mean, there's some stuff that some of these enemies have, and it's mostly the bosses that are the ones that have it, right? But so many of these bosses have some legendary actions that are like, you have to rethink how you're going to take on this encounter entirely. And it's really interesting as somebody that's seeing it for the first time. I don't know anything about any of these legendary actions. I'm not even getting any warnings from chat. I tell chat, no spoilers or anything like that. And I get to these, and then I read through them and I check them out. Hey, what's up, Wooly? I get there, I check them out, and you have to think in real time and try to figure out what exactly is going to be going on, and how to be able to combat some of these legendary actions. So it depends on how well that would be used if they're going to add more encounters to the game, if that was the route they would go. But the thing is at the end of the day, there is a ton of content that Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't have in it that was on the cutting room floor. I made a video about it. People got mad at me for even talking about it, but is what it is. I mean, like, I think the people that watched it thought I was like attacking the game, but that's obviously not. Look at this channel. Do you think I would attack this game?
There's no reason to attack this game. I mean, there's no reason to attack this game.
But you get what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of content that was cut.
Yeah, there is. There is, and like I said, when we talked about last week when we were talking about Rogue Trader, is one of the things that I don't think we talked about it on stream or on the podcast. We talked about it beforehand, where the difference between the two games is when I bought Baldur's Gate 3, I got the full game and everything that they had to offer, of what they were giving me, and then with Warhammer, I had the options to buy a seasonal pass, starter packs, stuff like that. These extra added on stuff. So if you already have a seasonal pass, that means that it's stuff that you've already created or are working on, and you just took it out of the game. You know what I mean? So yeah. I feel. I mean, that's just how I take it. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying that's how it feels.
Yeah, I'm not going to I'm not going to put a shot across the bow for Owlcat because it could just be how their stuff is, how their content cadence is. From what I understand, their base games are already feature rich. I mean, look how many classes and options there are for classes in Warhammer 40K.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a lesser deal. I'm just saying just because I like when you purchase something and you see that there's additional add-ons. It just at the back of my head just speaks at that red flag. You know what I mean? It just does.
Okay. But and the thing is that Kokoro actually brings something up, and it's something that I noticed immediately when I played Rogue Trader, which is that in Rogue Trader there's a lot of bugs. There's a lot of issues.
There's a lot of issues. Yes.
Far more than the comments that I used to see for Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 was functional. There's times where Rogue Trader is not. There's times where I have to reload constantly because I'm running into some issue where I'm stuck in combat or something doesn't load properly or whatever it might be. But overall, like, the game's good, and you can see that the content's there. It just needs to be kind of fleshed out a little bit. You know what I mean? And it may be the case, and that's the one thing I hate about games that have like season passes and stuff like that, because you already know for a fact that those developers are already working on the next thing. They're not working on what the actual game's base is and the foundation of the game.
Yeah.
So more of the focus is being put on what they're monetizing rather than what was monetized, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So I think it was Dark Hollow. I saw earlier in the comments that he had said that his Act 4 is botched. It's biffed on Rogue Trader.
Oh, really? Ooh,
yeah,
man, that sucks. That sucks.
It does suck.
And just a slight reminder to the folks that are in chat right now. Remember, you guys can always come and hang out in the Discord. We're always talking about whether it's Rogue Trader, Baldur's Gate 3, or any other RPG, any RPGs that are going on, or any other news that's happening out there. Yeah, a solid place to hang out if you guys haven't joined it already. Link for that's in the description of the video. But so the thing that I have with Baldur's Gate is that the assets for both Avernus and the Upper City are there. So at any time, they could easily add even more content to the game if they wanted to.
Dude, yes.
And while Larian has said they won't do any DLC, they may not do DLC. They may just add more content.
Yeah.
Because let's go ahead.
No, I'm agreeing with you. Like with the Avernus, what if they just slightly alter Karlach's story? You know what I mean? I think we've talked about this before. Is like Avernus is a place that she has to go to deal with, not Mizora, but the chick that she's been dealing with. You know what I mean? Like that would be a boss fight. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would be down for something like that. It's just the thing is that there's so many assets that are on the back end that haven't been actually implemented into the game that could add so much more flavor, so much more content to a game that already has so much flavor and content.
Yeah.
Which is wild to me. But the thing is that when people sit back and they ask and they're like, why is Larian going so far out of their way to add this much more stuff to the game? I'm going to give you 3 reasons to why I believe this is happening. Reason 1. The game is far more successful than they could have ever imagined. Like, regardless of what they say, they've come out and they're like, oh, well, you know, we understood our players. We knew what players wanted. We did our research and this and this and this. And it's like, while that is true, there's no way they could have predicted the level of success that this game has found, the level of popularity that this game has found. So with that, this is now the game where we're like, which is wild to me, that Divinity 1 and 2 are games that put Larian on the map and made Larian relatively popular. Yep. This is the game that shoved them into the mainstream.
Yep.
Where now mainstream players are looking at their games. Exactly. Yep. So of course they want to continue to build on it because they want that community that they've already captured to know what their pedigree is. They want them to know what their beliefs are, what their standards are for the games that they make, and how well they want to continue to improve on those games. Just like they did with Divinity Original Sin 2. Divinity Original Sin 2, from the day it launched to the day that it was in Definitive Edition, almost completely different games.
And just the amount of goodwill that they're banking right now by doing this, support, continuing to support it and support it and support it, it's gonna go a long way for that studio for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
They're the new CD Projekt Red before CD Projekt Red cyberpunked it. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I don't disagree with that. But when I'm thinking about like what they could do in the future, it's really unpredictable with this team because they care. My other reasons, I only gave one. My bad. I forget about that sometimes. So 1, it's because the game's far more popular than they thought. 2, it's because they've made more money than they thought they ever would off of the game to begin with as well. Like this game is selling gangbusters. This company is now rolling in dough. Like, yep. I mean, they have more than enough to be able to not only support the studios that they already have, but then to support their future projects and the continued development of Baldur's Gate 3 simultaneously. Where before they were likely like, okay, once this is done, we'll patch things here and there for Baldur's Gate 3, make a couple fixes here and there. But we're going to start shifting our focus towards whatever, the next game's going to be. Maybe it's Divinity Original Sin 3 or something like that, whatever it might be. But in this case, they actually have the money to do something that they probably didn't think they would. They have the money to grow. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you froze. Oh, there you go.
No, I'm not froze. I'm just a statue.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just dead inside.
That also makes sense. That also makes sense. And this is one of the first times ever that I've actually rooted for a company to make as much money as they possibly can.
Yeah, right.
Give
like,
it all to 'em.
hey, you be some money grubbers.
Yeah, that's why like when you'll see people in like YouTube comments, you'll see people on Twitter and stuff like that where they'll actually come out and they'll say, "Hey, man, you know, I wish there was DLC. I would buy DLC. I would buy blah 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 blah," because this is how it should be. This is how games should be. Games should be made in this way where it's not that you're forced into buying things because you feel like you have to. It's because you feel like you want to support that game and support that studio and everything that they do. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, just the like I'm not gonna knock it, but the level of production value on Rogue Trader and Baldur's Gate 3, they're to me, they're miles apart on production level. You know what I mean?
They're also miles apart in size, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And the pure polish that Baldur's Gate and Larian brought, I think they do. They deserve all the accolades that they're getting. They deserve more money. I want to see what their next CRPG is going to be. I'm hoping that Disney is like, hey, here's some Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, but no, Embracer still has it. But no, it'd be cool. I mean, like, I'm curious to see. To be honest with you, I think I would want a Divinity 3 is what I'd want.
That's the old dice roll.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I just have some like footage playing in the background right now. It actually showed like the old dice roll, and it even shows like some of the old characters and stuff that they were using from their concepts and whatnot. But my third reason as to why I think that they're going to be doing something even crazier, okay, or my third reason why I think there's going to be an even more insane amount of content that's going to be coming to the game is that there are so many leftover assets that they could be utilizing, and they haven't yet. Yeah,
that's true.
There are full-on character arcs. There are quests. There are full-on dialogues for characters. There is the Upper City, which still exists in the assets of the game. Data miners found it. There is what else? I think there's another playable character, another recruitable character that's also in the background, and then also there's also assets for Avernus as well, not just House of Hope. Outside of the House of Hope.
Yeah. I saw an article, and obviously, once I tell you what it is, you can guess where I read it. Said that there wasn't enough drow representation in the game, and I was like, it's kind of weird. It's like a weird.
Why do you read Kotaku?
Why
do you read them? It's literally just outrage content. Like
no, I read it. I read it for the games.
It's absolute. Gaming journalism today is at its absolute worst. It's either outrage content or clickbait, and both of those could technically be the exact same thing.
They're the same thing.
Fucking
There's a different
terrible.
flavor. That's just strawberry and chocolate. That's it.
It's so bad.
But I was sitting there thinking once I just read the headline. Like, well, you can't have another party member other than Minthara, and I was like, okay, what party member is an orc? What party member? What party member do we have that's a half elf or a dwarf? Or a halfling, or you know what I'm saying? It's just so weird to make that statement. I was just like, whatever.
Not enough drow representation.
Not enough drow.
Jesus Christ, I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, the thing is that like some people, especially when it comes to Baldur's Gate 3, they're just going to use the name just to be able to drive clicks. As much as I hate to say it. And the thing is, we saw this with the release of Baldur's Gate 3. You had a bunch of people that were trying to mobilize the rage bait armies against, whether it's like representation or whether it was, whatever else, inclusivity. There were people that were trying to throw it in the same boat as like the god awful garbage that Disney's been throwing out over the years. Things like that, or the terrible shows that Netflix has put out, and it's like, this is not
Hogwarts
in the
Legacy.
same. This is not in the same vein. Baldur's Gate 3 is a game that is inclusive or inclusivity. It's tastefully done. It's done in the most I don't know, natural way, in a way that like you can either interact with it or not interact
or
with
not.
it just the same way you would in real life. You know what I mean?
It's just like our buddy's podcast that we watched where the dude was just angry about the bear. He's angry about the bear. You know how like, and I'm just like, so, and this is mind you, this is in like July before the game even comes out. These people have never even played it, the Baldur's Gate, even early access. And I had to break it down. It's like, you have to choose to do that. Like, if you're worried about that, then don't not open your door when the religious cyclists come by, because you're gonna jump in. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, if you can be talked into with a bear, then you could probably be talked into anything. You know what I mean? You have to choose to do it.
Yeah.
You have to choose to do it.
Yeah. You, like I said it before, you gotta want that bear.
You gotta want that bear real bad.
You gotta want to take. You gotta want to
hey,
take
boo
that
boo.
ride. Hey,
boo boo boo.
Ain't that nice? So pick a butt's good.
I don't know, Yogi.
Oh my god! So before I forget, Rogue Trader. Like, I picked the Skeletor voice for my my character, and I really wish I hadn't, because I'll just be walking and he'll be like, "There will be no peace in my wake," and he just keeps on running. I'm like, okay.
So I'm working on a couple of videos for next week about Baldur's Gate 3. I'm not gonna dive too hard into like what the potential next bit of content is gonna be, because I feel like it's probably gonna date me pretty quickly. There is a bunch of stuff that they can do. Have you seen the changes that they've made to the inventory system?
I haven't noticed.
Oh, I'm just gonna do like a tips video or something, man.
Yeah.
Thank you to YouTube chat, by the way, for you guys that show up to my streams and just slide me these little trips, these little
whoa.
The folks that are showing me a couple tips and tricks. I've learned so much more about the UI than I knew before. And there's a lot of really cool changes that they've made to inventory, to UI, to a bunch of other stuff that it generally just makes the game that much more fun, that much more playable, that much more easy to play, especially for folks that may have a hard time, trying to get used to using that stuff. Especially because CRPGs can kind of be a little bit complicated from time to time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they can. Yeah, and not all CRPGs UIs are equal. That's for sure.
No,
that's for sure.
No. So, but one of the things that they have already added the ability for us to be able to use taking multiple items and sending them to camp. They've already made it where we can access everybody in the party's inventory from camp. Mm-hmm. There's a button. If you hit tab, there's a little panel at the bottom, and you'll be able to click that, and then you'll be able to click any other party member's portrait, and it'll bring them up in a side window that you can move around, and then you can just switch that gear from one character to another. It's so useful. Yep. It's so good.
It's one of the things that I actually like about Rogue Trader. It is just one big shared loot pool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I do kind of wish that it had that though.
My lighting looks fire, dude. I look pretty good today. Not to pat myself on the back, but hey. So
anyway,
we out here.
Good. Why are you gloating over your camera? Nobody likes looking at you. Okay, everybody.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. This is an
equal opportunity podcast. Okay.
So if you look up, that's what life looks like, and if you look down, that's what just despair and disappointment is. So it's just a before and after.
It's just a before and after. Yeah. Yeah. So overall, I've been really impressed with the things that they've done. I think some of the things that we're probably going to see in the future, anything in a larger content update, to be honest, I think whatever it is, it's going to probably be shocking, because it's really
are you 100% sold that it's a Baldur's Gate related?
Yeah.
Why?
It's way too soon for them to announce anything other than Baldur's Gate.
No, it's not.
Why?
What? Their next game's not going to be coming out for
5 or 6 years. That's way
I
far
would
off.
guess 8.
That's way, I know. Well, either way. So let's say I wouldn't say 8. I would say 7 at the most. But if that was the case, if their next game is 7 years off, you don't make the announcement of that game now.
They did with Baldur's Gate.
They did it 7 years before the game was put out.
What was it? 2018. They showed the trailer on it.
2018.
It'd be 6 years or
5 years.
About 5 years.
Yeah,
I mean that's
5 years.
Pretty early.
But if that's the case, the thing
what
is,
are we watching on screen here?
They already.
What
had
are we
assets.
watching?
I mean, it's getting a little spicy. I'm sorry about that, guys. You know,
it always amazes me when I do a romance scene. I was like, somebody had to hand draw all of this.
yeah. Keep it in your pants, okay, guys. I need you guys to keep it in your pants over there. So I don't know, man. I'm really interested to see what they end up doing. It honestly at this point could be just about anything. I can't put anything past them at this point.
Yeah. No, like I think anything that they add to this game is going to be a benefit to me. I'm cracked out on it, and right now I'm taking a break from it just to take a break from it so that I don't have, issues. I mean, I'm getting like addictive level style of wrapped into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To where I'm just turning everything else away, and I'm just, horse blinding myself into that game. I'm giving myself a break because I
really like the Dark Urge so far.
Isn't it great? Isn't it great?
It's really good. It's really, really good. Yeah, it does actually, Dark Urge actually feels like the main character.
It does. If
that makes any sense. Dark Urge feels like the main character. Like it almost is the one that you should start the game with, but almost you don't want to because it really is. The reason why I would never tell somebody to start with Dark Urge is because if you play Dark Urge, it's like playing a completely different game all of a sudden.
It is.
Because there's all these different interactions that happen, and it adds this through line that seems to go through every act, which is really cool. That adds a whole completely different style of flavor to the game. So that's something I really like about it. It really makes the game feel fresh.
Well, I think they did a really good job with it on the aspect that you are creating a character that has an origin story. You don't have that with the other ones. And so it feels like the Dark Urge because they wrote him into the story. You know what I mean? And that's all I'm going to say about it because you haven't finished it either. But it's a part of the story, the whole big picture story. It's a part of it and not just a character playing in it like you would with your normal created player.
That's
you know
really
what I mean?
cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
It's really dope.
It almost kind of makes me wish that even like the standard character had something similar. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. Yeah, I can see that.
Because it I'm not going to spoil anything, but like one of the things that I always really liked about Divinity Original Sin was that there was this like underlying tone for each character that your god was at work through you, right?
Yep.
Like your as an example, like the god of humans was working through Ivan.
Yep.
Is that what his name is? Through Ivan. Obviously.
And Fane's god.
Fane's god was working through him. The dwarf's god was working through them. And that was really interesting because it added this own level of character story that wasn't just their personal story. It was something even greater than that. I always really like stuff like that. It really does make every single playthrough like that much more personalized.
Yeah, makes it meaningful.
So now we're gonna go. What, go ahead.
Let's play some DOS. Let's do it.
Divinity Original Sin playthrough.
Yeah, let's do it.
A Divinity Original Sin co-op. Let's play.
Yes, modded at that.
Well, it has to be modded. I can't play unmodded DOS anymore. I love DOS, but me being able to kill vendors and take all their stuff is a necessary thing.
Yeah, it is.
It has to happen. Also, on top of that, the scaling loot is also something that's really good too.
And I never did get to finish my dwarf that had the Shrek skin that was also a succubus. We didn't get to finish that playthrough, and I think about it often.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
Shrek the succubus.
Yeah. So now we're gonna go from one of the greatest games of the entire year, and we're gonna start talking about the worst game of the entire year. We're gonna talk about The Day Before. So we briefly touched on this last week, and there's been somehow even more that's happened this week. If you guys are somehow unaware of this news and everything that's happened with this game, it went from released to not anything at all within 4 days.
Yeah.
This is the game that single-handedly came out, made Gollum, Redfall, and King Kong look like good games.
Yeah.
This game, you thought that was bad? Their companies are still around.
Yeah. This game didn't even pull off the bait and switch. It just set off the bait, and then everyone's like, no. Yeah.
Do you know what so this is a blast from the past conversation that we're about to have. And actually there's some of the older podcasts were actually pulled from the channel for reasons. We weren't neither of the quality of the podcast was not good enough for my standards anymore, and there were some other things that I wasn't also very good at keeping track of things like copyright infringement and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyway, but in one of our older podcasts, this is like, I want to say like our 20th podcast. We've only been doing it for like a couple of months or something like that. And in it, we're like, they showed the reveal trailer, the first reveal trailer for the day before. And our first conversation that Mark and I had about it was, I don't think it's real. I did not think it was real. Because there was something so weird about the trailer, especially, and it's not like, yeah, I know I see a lot of people that are pointing out like, oh man, but look at like the, obviously AI generated voice lines and stuff like that. And I'm like, that wasn't what made me feel like the game was fake. What made me feel like the game was fake is that they used like the weird people pretending to play the game like they're gamers voices.
Yeah.
Hey,
let's go over here.
Hey, man, I found a cowboy hat. Don't worry, little lady. Everything's going to be okay. Like, no, nobody talks like that. Nobody does. Like, me and you don't drop into an area in a game or in an open world game, and I go, hey, Mark, I'm going to search this convenience store. And you're like, all right, I'm going to search the skyscraper.
Did you find a water bottle? Cool.
I like water. It's like, what is this? It's so, yes, it's uncanny. Yes, exactly. No Beats. It's uncanny. That's what it is. It's uncanny. So it's just one of those things where you're like, this, like, it was so obviously scripted. And that showed even worse by the time they showed later trailers. And the fact that it still stayed so highly wishlisted on Steam, and that so many people were still positive about the game leading up to its release. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And then the release came, and it was like, actually, we can't release the game. We're going to push it back 6 months because we forgot to copyright the name.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. They literally, people have done the research. Skillup does a pretty good piece on it. Where you can basically almost every asset in that game you can buy on the Unreal store. Every one of them, the buildings, the city map, the whole thing, you can buy it on the Epic Store or Unreal Store.
Yeah, I saw the whole the asset stuff. We can get into that part too, but go ahead.
My favorite thing about this whole deal, I mean, other than like we talked about it, I was surprised that it got to 38,000 concurrent players on launch.
Yeah.
That's insane for one.
I think the concurrent player count was mostly to do with memes and content, because a lot of people by that last trailer, everybody was like, wait a minute. Yeah. And the news started to leak pretty quickly on the game, and then the next thing you know, it's really just content creators, YouTubers, Twitch streamers that were playing and buying the game for the memes and for the YouTube content. Just bowing down to the old algorithm, you know what I mean? But man, the thing is that so I was having a conversation about this the other night, but really what this is two guys that made a game studio that had a plan. They wanted to rip people off. Okay, that's what they were trying to do. They're scam artists is what they are. It's pretty obvious with some of their other games and some of their asset flips and stuff like that, right? They've made and abandoned games 4 times up into the release of this game, right? But the thing is that they're both bumbling idiots. Like it's literally they are one half of a brain cell put together, and that's all they have between them. And it makes sense when you look at everything that they've done, because not like it's like, okay, well, we could just AI generate this entire thing. And then I realized that the reason why some of the language in the trailers was so weird and why some of the English isn't done very well is because they were probably using a Google or AI translation tool to take their native language and put it into English, and then take that and copy that and put it into the AI voice models. Yeah. So that's why things came out sounding so weird and so uncanny, because nothing was translated properly, and they thought just copy and pasting everything was going to be something that was going to be able to fool enough people. And for the most part, it did for a little bit. The only problem is that they didn't realize something. Steam holds on to the money for 30 days before you can get it. Imagine going through this ruse of developing the next big survival open world MMO that you later release as an extraction shooter that doesn't have any open world, that also it doesn't really have anything. But you release this complete lie of a game, only to realize you don't actually get to keep the money because Steam holds onto the money for 30 days and you're not going to last that long.
You know, like the game was like, selling like, oh, we're up to 38,000. And then like day 2, they're like, well, fuck.
Like these two guys at Fantastic are quite literally the burglars from Home Alone. Like they are literally the burglars from Home Alone. Like they're slipping on the marbles, they're getting hit in the head with the frying pan, they're getting blowtorched, they don't understand what's going on, they think they're geniuses, they think they're gonna hit it rich, and then they absolutely stumble and fail because they don't actually know what they're doing. And I think that's the thing that is the most hilarious about this whole entire thing. Yes, the Wet Bandits, Tim. That's who they are. They're the Wet Bandits.
My favorite.
Why'd you turn the faucets on? Because we need a calling card, man. We're the Wet Bandits.
My ultimate favorite part of this whole deal is when Twitter, when people who purchased the game on Twitter who weren't, you know, who hadn't had it figured out, who actually did get scammed or bamboozled, they were tweeting at them, you know, stuff like, you guys are a disgrace to the gaming community and blah, 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 on and on and on. And they responded to that with a tweet of, this was our largest taking. Shit happens. That's it. Shit happens. Sorry.
Guys. I need you guys to understand something real quick. I know we had this in development for 6+ years, okay? We asked for volunteers. Not enough of you volunteered. If more of you guys volunteered to give us free time to make this game for us so that we could get rich, it would have happened. But we can't because nobody volunteered. Do you remember that when they came out asking for volunteers? I was like,
to help develop the game.
How is that not a red flag? The fact that there were still copium huffers on Reddit on the official The Day Before Reddit page is hilarious. Like, I can't. Unpaid volunteers. We'll give you stuff. What are you gonna give us? I don't know. We'll send you some beans.
You get a free copy of the game for 4 days.
Free copy of the game. You can join in on early access day 1. Yeah. I don't even know what to say. It's just
they shut down their studios. They've closed the doors. They said they're refunding all the money. They said that they're refunding all the money that they were working with Steam, but I don't think they have much of a choice once Steam delisted it. So
here's the thing, though. Oh man, the plot thickens. By the way, so day 1, game releases. Day 2, they're apologizing. Not only they're apologizing, they're gaslighting people and being like, guys, you know, we're working on the game. We want it to be the best game we can possibly make it. Just please be patient. This is early access, yada, yada, yada. You know, please don't call us scammers.
Yeah,
That hurts our. I think they even said like that
I
hurts
like
our
the-
feelings.
Yeah, they were like, all you people who have stuck with us, basically saying, "Fuck the haters. You're the real
Haters.
MVPs."
Yeah, you're the real ones. You're the real ones. Yeah. So then after that, then day 3 comes. Day 3 is, hey guys, we're shutting down the studio. We're not going to be able to financially. We're not going to be able to recover from this. We wanted to support the game a day ago, but today we can't do it anymore. 2 days have passed, and in those 2 days, we can no longer be in business. Day 4, the game is taken off of Steam, and they changed the name of their company to, was it Crazy 8 Games or something like that?
Yeah. That's so fucking
We'll
good.
get him on round 2.
Oh my
We'll get him in Home Alone 2.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Skill Up Us in his video, he knows the people. He's a big Division person, right? So he knows the people over at Massive.
Yeah.
And so he was having conversations with them, and they were laughing about how much stolen asset this is.
Their initial
they were
trailer
just laughing
was
about
mostly
it.
Call of Duty. It was the Call of Duty trailer, frame for frame, the Call of Duty trailer. At first, the funny thing is that and that was what and then that's I think when most people started to be like, there's something weird about this, all of this blatant copyright infringement. What's happening here? This makes me believe that this isn't a real game or something. Really?
No, it was. I mean, for us from the jump, we were like, this game's fake. It's a fake. Man, it's. I'm just. You know what? Here's what I'm glad Steam did something about it and delisted it off.
I am too.
I'm glad it didn't stay up there like other scams. They still stay up there a long time.
Yeah. It's
you know what I mean?
Steam even came out and said that anybody that bought it will get a refund regardless of how many hours they put in, since they delisted the game.
That's
luckily nobody's stuck with it. They get their money back no matter what, so that's good.
Yeah.
Did you see? I actually watched, and there was somebody. Let me see if I can find a clip of it, and I'll show you guys really quick. But there's a guy that's on YouTube. There's a guy on YouTube that's actually making the day before himself. And I don't know if I can find it or not. It might be kind of buried under all of the day before, all the day before content. And he's actually making it in record pace. And he's making it better, while fixing mechanics in the game at the same time, including things like vault, the ability to vault over objects, because you couldn't actually climb over objects. You couldn't even climb over objects in the game. So yeah, no, I can't find it. I can't find the video, sadly. But yeah, so there is a guy that's been making YouTube videos where he's making the day before himself. And yeah, he's fixing different things in the game. He's making it kind of better. I would love to see, and this is the one thing that I love about the gaming community. Something like this then triggers something else to happen in the industry. So as an example, what I could easily see coming as a result of this is, one, somebody realizing, wait a minute, there's a huge desire for a game like this, a massive desire. Open world survival zombie looter shooter, MMO. Yes, there's people that want to play that.
But they said this isn't an MMO.
No,
it's
I'm not
an
talking
extraction
about that.
shooter.
I'm not talking about that. But the day before is out of the conversation. What I'm talking about is that there's a large desire of people that want a game like that. And as a result, I could easily see some indie developers, modders, people like that coming together and making their own game as a response to this game. And we've seen things like that happen in the past where people realize that there's a hole in the industry and they go, all right, we'll do it. We'll do it. Yep. Nobody else is doing it. You know what I mean? A really good example of this, and I'm not giving full shout outs or anything really to I like Escape from Tarkov, but it has a lot of issues that studio needs to fix. And if that Tarkov, while being a very full game, it's also a game that's not very finished either and has a lot of shit that it needs to get done. It also to me feels like Star Citizen a little bit, where it's just my grandkids will play this game when it's out, fully. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But I could easily see people looking at the day before and going, well, this is what these guys did with an asset flip, right? They copied and pasted assets, stitched it together, and called it a day. Well, if I grabbed a team of, highly motivated people that wanted to make a game like the day before, but actually functioning and good, well, we could do the same thing that they did, but just do it actually the right way and do it good and make it actually work. And people will probably buy it.
Yeah, 100%. I'd probably play it.
Yeah. So modding community, indie devs that are out there, get to work. All right. I'll support you. If you guys want to make your own day before, I'll make videos on this channel supporting you. How about that? I will shout you out. I will. I don't know. I will.
I don't know. I'll make t-shirts. I don't know.
Now the one thing that I do want to the one thing I do want to discuss, which is something that's as a result of this, and I saw somebody made a video and they were talking about it as well, and this is definitely something that worries me too, is that in an age in which we have a lot of games that are released that are heavily monetized, right? Microtransactions just milking us like as hard as they possibly can, squeezing us for every penny that's out there. With Unreal Engine 5 becoming that so accessible that these two guys could make a garbage game like the day before and almost fleece people out of their money. If they were slightly smarter than they were, if they were above the average IQ score, they would have had the opportunity to be able to scam people out of a significant amount of money. Now, if you get people that actually do know how to scam people, and they utilize the Unreal Store to asset flip, buy $700 worth of in-game assets, or maybe even $10,000 worth of in-game assets, make a couple of good-looking trailers, they stick with it. Maybe they have actual, like, if they have any charisma at all, you know what I mean? And they know how to be able to do interviews and talk and weave their way through conversations, and make sure that any articles that are written in a positive light, and they don't leave any shadows on the game whatsoever. And then they release it. Oh man, yeah, it's just having some issues right now, guys. Just give us a little while, we'll get it fixed. They wait about 30 days or 60 days. Maybe they pull a few more players in, and then they cut ties with it after that. Yeah, guys, sorry, we're just not going to be able to support this game further. We're working on our next project. This one's going into maintenance mode. They could easily do something like that, and that's something that I'm really worried about in the future, because I'm gonna self pat myself on the back here. I'm a relatively charismatic person. I'm good at talking and interviews and writing videos and articles and stuff like that. I could easily do that. I would scam the crap out of you guys. But I have a heart. I got a big heart, guys. I got a big heart. I ain't gonna scam you out of your money. Not today.
But with
that, hey guys, I have a new game coming out.
Yeah. This is more unique because of it actually got into the hands of the public. You know what I mean? It actually made it to the finish line. It just didn't, cross it. This type of thing happens on Kickstarter, where they'll show you those trailers and all the stuff that they made with their bot assets and all that stuff, get you to invest into it, and then a year later or whatever, like, oh, we ran out of funds, I'm sorry, we can't make the game. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Or just it lets them milk it out longer and longer. Yeah, that sucks. Kickstarter MMOs, that's right.
Yeah, classic. Kickstarter MMOs is actually a really good. That's a really good. That's a really good example. And there are a lot of Kickstarter MMOs that do exactly that. They use Unreal assets, they flip them, make it look like it's something worthwhile, and they get $20,000-$30,000. A few of them get even more than that. However, I think there's a few of them that did end in lawsuit, because there is some like retaliation if they don't meet whatever the goal was, like if they don't actually do what they say they were going to do. I think there are some of those people that have been sued in the past. Ashes of Creation is a real game. Those guys have actually, legitimately, like with how often they do like developer updates and videos and stuff, like they're making the game okay.
I think they, like, when you were talking about
whether or not it's going to be good, that's a copium huff we can do, but
you're talking about
Larry and
announcing stuff too early or whatnot. I think they started showing that game and doing all this stuff way too early, like way too early.
Who did?
Ashes of Creation.
I don't know, man. I mean,
Like,
Baldur's Gate 3 did the same thing, right? They showed their game very early. They showed what they worked on very early. They got people involved in the early access super early.
Yeah, but they did the early access though. You know what I'm saying?
And I would imagine that Ashes of Creation is probably going to do the same thing. They might do an early access, an early access launch, like level cap up to 35 until the game is finished or something like that. Another game that did it, that's an MMO that people don't realize it's an MMO that. I mean, it has a pretty decent following and player base is Temtem, that Pokemon clone that's on Steam. Yeah. That game is an MMO that was available for people to play, and it had most of the continents were locked out, and they kind of released them in patches until they got to patch 1.0. Game's been healthy and thriving and doing well. It is possible.
Yeah,
but,
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So it's just wild to me to see that it was that easy for a couple of people that really had no sense among either of them, to be able to pull anything together. And
they believed they could get away with it. I mean, they believed it.
Yeah, and I think SkillUp brought up something else that I thought was really interesting too, which he thinks what they were trying to do was use the day before to promote their like Teams app that they were making.
Their Teams ripoff.
Microsoft Teams ripoff that they were making. Because it was right like during the middle of the vid and all that stuff, so people were still on lockdown. So that's even more dumb. Where it's just like, hold on a minute. How? Oh God, my brain actually hurts at like trying to get as galaxy brained as these guys were, where they thought that a good idea was to try to market a Teams app to gamers.
Yeah.
Newsflash: we use Discord. It's free, and we're not going to stop using it until it's not.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna pull us off into some garbage Teams app that you guys made, pasting some stuff together, the most generic looking thing in the world. Like, who are you marketing that towards? And that was like one of their like behind the scenes thing. Like, oh yeah, this is how the game's coming together and this and that. And it was, it's because we're always doing our meetings through our Teams app or whatever it was. It was so
Sleems. It was Sleems.
Sleems. Yeah. Groups.
Couples. It's just couples.
Yeah, couples. We can only have two people in chat at once.
Oh my God.
Oh
Christmas.
Man. Yeah. So that's been the whole thing with the day before is just man. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We don't get to see that. I mean, at least with like Dark and Darker, it's a stolen asset, but the game works. It's good. You know what I mean? So it's not that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Which I mean, like that, and that's already spawning clones and stuff like that too. Yeah. Whatever happened with that lawsuit with Dark and Darker? It's still not on Steam, huh? They just give up on that?
Nope. It's still.
I see they got a mobile game coming out.
Yeah. It's through that mobile publisher. Still, so on that really sketch website,
Paxton,
something like that. Yeah,
I think that's what they're called. Yeah. There was something else. What else? Oh, there was other big news as well.
Yeah. While we're still on Baldur's Gate, we'll just go ahead and finish the rest of it, unless you
What do you got?
Spin. He came out about 3 days ago.
Okay.
And actually said what he was going to say at the Game Awards before they cut him off.
I did see that, yeah.
It's after reading it, and maybe it is because I'm starting to grow like an emotional attachment to the studio. You know what I mean? Like it's becoming a love affair of their products, and just the way they are.
I know, I understand.
I mean, I don't know how else to say it. But. After reading this, it really, really like makes me want to punch Jeff Keighley in the face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, because there was stuff he was going to talk about that, like, holy shit.
Oh, like things that happened during development?
Yeah, things that happened during development. Losing his father.
Yeah.
I
Lost
mean,
his father during development. Other people on the team lost folks while they were developing the game. They lost people from the studio itself. I mean, honestly, the list goes on about like how hard these guys work to make it, and I've talked about it in the past. While I say that we don't, as gamers, we care about what the final product of the game is, right? I wholeheartedly believe that. We only care about what the final product of the game is. We don't appreciate your work unless we actually have a game that meets our level of expectation. And I even see some people pushing back and saying it's impossible to meet gamers' level of expectations. Is it? Because Baldur's Gate 3 exceeded it. So I don't think that's necessary. Our expectations are not completely ridiculous and unfounded. There are going to be some people that are in the gaming community that are off their fucking rocker. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be some people that are out there that have some crazy stuff that they think is going to happen or what they think a game is going to be like. But that doesn't necessarily mean that every expectation is unfounded. Most expectations, the general consensus of expectations, are going to be relatively grounded on what our or what we're hoping the game is going to be like,
and what they advertise it as.
Yes, and that's really all it comes down to. Most of our hopes are tied directly to the advertisement. Yeah,
I mean, Starfield being the key example of that. It was a lot of wordsmithing that they used when they described what they're going to be able to do in the game and all that kind of stuff. And so when the game comes out, it doesn't quite meet the expectations that they themselves had set for the consumer.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing. Todd the Man Howard. You know what I mean? Todd the leather jacket, runway walking, hair flipped having,
diamond ring wearing, limousine riding.
Yeah. Chess playing, telling the football players to go fuck themselves, Howard. Okay? That guy. He came out and said this is going to be unparalleled space exploration.
Yeah.
Unparalleled space exploration in a way that you have never seen before. You will traverse planets, find
how many
fauna.
How many planets, Todd?
Yeah. One.
1,000.
1,000 planets, Todd. 1,000 planets, Todd. So, you know what? This is an awesome segue. Why don't we talk about Starfield? So I made a video this week talking about a little bit of drama. I know you guys kind of enjoy a little bit of the drama videos. And you know, I'm not gonna lie. I love the drama. I eat it up. It's good stuff.
Well, when it's so ridiculous, you have to say something. You know what I mean? Like when it's so absurd, you have to.
Preach, brother. Preach. I'm gonna need you to preach. So, Emil, and I don't platypus.
Emil Platypus? Does he wear a flannel jacket?
I cannot so I practiced 100 times for the video to pronounce his name the correct way, to which I did. It's Greek, by the way, so it's one of those, or Italian. I think it's Italian. But Emil, the design director for Starfield, came out on Twitter and basically had this super long thread, where in it he basically said that gamers are unfounded in their in our assessment of the game.
Why are we unfounded?
Well, that's because we don't make games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Something I don't build cars, but I can sure shit drive the fuck out of one.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Well, no, see, and here's the thing, man. The minute that he said that, this is what my reaction was. The minute that he said that, I was like, you know what? This guy's right. Starfield's great. Because I can't say anything against it. I don't know how to make games. I don't know how hard it is. And because of that, he's right. I'm wrong. I can't say that I don't like the game anymore because I don't make games, so I can't have an opinion on it. So I have to revert my opinion to Starfield is actually game of the year, and everybody is just crying for no reason because we all just need to understand how hard they worked. And once you guys understand how hard they worked, you realize it's actually a good game. Even though you don't enjoy playing it, that doesn't actually matter. It's that we just know how hard they worked, and then we know it's good.
Yeah, I mean, they worked hard, so I should appreciate it.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Like, I went to a restaurant, and I got food poisoning, but they worked really hard on the food, okay?
Yeah.
So, like, did I actually get food poisoning?
No, the food poisoning's your fault.
Right. It was probably like an allergy, which is actually my fault because it's my body, right? So, like, that's what I would think it would be. Yeah. This is the most unbased, ridiculous thing that I've seen in the longest time. This is one of those situations where I'm just, like, chilling. I was recording a video at the time. I turn over, I look at the other monitor, little Twitter, like, ding, and I was like, oh, what's going on? Go over here. IGN talking about a little something, and I read the article, and I'm like, this dude... I go and I read his tweets and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Who in, and here's the thing. This is somebody that was a game designer, was a game reviewer, then turned game developer, that should understand both sides. And even more so, like, all right, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, my official degree is in business administrations, and as somebody that has dealt with community outreach and things like that in the past, one of the things that I would be the most concerned with, especially if I worked at a AAA developer worth multiple billions of dollars, would be making sure that everybody on the team keeps their fucking mouth shut and doesn't go on Twitter to release their emotions into the atmosphere and make the company look like dog shit. Even the company kind of is, but it's kind of is. But regardless, you have a level of professionalism where you have to make sure that you're keeping the face of the company. And if you're somebody that is a director of design and you're going on Twitter to cry about how you think either gamers or content creators are unfounded in their judgments of your game.
Well, Ian, okay, I want you to just step back for a second and think the best thing you can do to build your community and then, to build your brand name is to attack the consumer of your products.
Yes.
It is a time-tested golden philosophy. So what he gets, A+.
There it is.
A+.
There it is. He goated. The guy just won. He just won the game. He should have just won the Director of the Year award. Did they have one of those? They didn't give one of those out.
I think he was literally almost one tweet away from saying it was the Xbox tax. Honestly, I really think he was just one tweet away.
Yeah. But like beyond that, the thing is that it's like, and it's even the wording. And I made sure to word it in a way, and I wasn't wording it. I just read what he said. But the difference is that when you read something aloud and you put inflection on how word sentences are actually constructed, right? Well, the emotion actually comes through. See, one of the problems that we typically have in the digital age is that we read a lot of things through text, right?
Yep.
And as such, what ends up happening is we lose emotion, we lose inflection, we lose the meaning of a lot of the things that we're saying because we're just reading the words without being able to really understand what the inflection is, so that we don't really understand the meaning of how that person really meant what to say, right?
Yeah. Well, we've learned to read them in a neutral attitude so that you don't assume, right? But within doing so, you actually lose the context of when it isn't. It, for whatever it is.
And here's the thing. If I text you something sarcastic, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard for you to understand that it's sarcastic because, well, I'm not putting inflection on it, right? I'm not saying it to you. You know what I mean? And what I mean by, so the reason why I'm even saying this is that when I read this stuff aloud, there's only one way to read it. And I'm going to read it for you again right now. Right here on the podcast for you guys right now. Here's your English lesson. You need to tell your son to shut up.
I'm about to go punch him in the face. That's why I said full screen.
You need to get full screen.
Yeah, full screen.
Full screen. Funny how disconnected some players are from the realities of game development, and yet they speak with such authority. I mean, I can guess what it's like to make a Hostess Twinkie, but I don't work in the factory, so what the hell do I know? Not a lot. Like, that's the only way that reads. It doesn't read any other way. If you read it aloud, that's how it reads, which is, I'm standing up on top of my mountain, looking down upon you peasants, you foolish fools. How dare you judge my game that me and my team have worked so hard on? Yeah. But especially the thing that actually, like, I read the rest of it, and I'm like, I can see, like, where he's coming from, though it's, you know, it's definitely not the best place to come from. But, like, this one line that's in here, where is it? Chances are, yeah, here you go. So you can dislike parts of a game, you can hate on a game entirely, but don't fool yourself into thinking that you know why things are the way they are unless it's something that was documented or verified or how it got to be that way, good or bad. Chances are, unless you've made a game yourself, you have no idea who made those decisions, who did what work specifically, how many people were actually available at the time, the challenges that were faced, or how often you had to overcome technology itself. And it's like, okay, so I mean, I can only read this one of two ways, right? When I'm placing inflection on sentences, and that's either whining or condescending.
It's
actually
condescending.
both.
Yeah, it's both.
Both.
When did they overcome technology? When did that happen? Because I might have missed that in my 65 hours of gameplay.
He said that's why he made sure to put in quotes, and this one is huge when he was talking about technology, because that was the one they couldn't overcome.
Ow, that was the speed. Got it. That was the speed bump.
That was the speed bump. The technology, the ability to not have 40 loading screens between every quest. That was the one they just I couldn't figure that one out.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't figure that one out. You know what I mean?
That's
I think one of the things that actually really bothers me about the games industry, especially at the AAA level specifically, is that you always hear all these defenses about how we need to care about how much hard work people put in. The people that are always saying that are always the people that are making shit games. And beyond that, when they talk about, like, for instance, as an example, when Christopher Judge went up and he took shots at Call of Duty, and then there was people that pushed back, basically saying, like, hey, I don't expect, I wouldn't expect this, from somebody in our industry. This is one of our industry peers that's pointing out one of these other studios or developers or whatever it might be. How is it that this industry has their own back, but they're not working together to make sure that they're ensuring that their projects are actually successful in the first place?
Well, they're not.
I understand you have NDA stuff, but how are you guys not talking to each other? Hey, you know what? We're really, hey, you guys over there with No Man's Sky, you guys did this thing that we'd really like to do in our game, and we're just having some problems with it. How did you guys get around this hurdle or this thing? I can't imagine that that's something that you guys can't have an off-the-topic discussion on about the ways to get around loading screens and things like that. Like, you guys have developer conferences where you specifically go out and talk about these things in the first place. How are these discussions not happening?
The industry is too competitive. Okay, so like for instance, the Coalition is really good with Unreal Engine 5. Okay, so they're going to work within the Microsoft deal. They're not going to go to another company and help them because they want their game to be better, either by creative thoughts or its actual functioning, right? So they're going to just put out a smoother game because their little tips and tricks that they came up with is going to make their stuff smoother, and they're not going to help somebody else do that because it's such a competitive market. You understand what I'm saying? I do agree with you, though. That means that there is a hole in the industry for a company to get all of these type of people together that have these type of solutions, like a think tank type deal.
Yeah,
that could be like a consultant group that could help these people with their different technical aspects. But yeah, it's too competitive for them to talk. That's the real of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Idealistically, it'd be great if they all just work together and kumbaya, but they're just not going to.
I think in our in chat right now, Nick brings up a really good point, which is that Bethesda has been in a bubble with Skyrim for the past over a decade, just re-releasing the same game over and over again. And yeah, that's what I was talking about before. They have GDC, but if you've noticed over the last few years, and this is just like the state of the industry as it is, where like I love a lot of these developers. I think most of them do. I know they work hard. I know they want to make great games because they are gamers themselves. They want to play great stuff. However, they are beholden to the people that lead them. And that's a two-way street, by the way. So if they are not good at their job, they're being kept there by somebody that should be leading them that's not. Or if they are good at their job but are unable to do the things that would make games great, they're also beholden to the people that are above them that are directing these games or designing these games from the top end, right?
Yeah.
And there is a lack of ownership is what it feels like across the industry. Not every single studio. Obviously, we have some really awesome ones that are out there that are doing some absolutely stand-up work. But if you're looking at GDC, every time I look at GDC, it always has to do with things that aren't necessarily making games better.
Yeah.
And this is, and I'm not saying this in a, and this isn't really in a negative light or anything like that, but like, and I'm talking about the game experience itself mechanically. And I want to be careful with my words here because I'm not saying like they have full on sections where they talk about inclusivity and stuff like that, which I think is great. And they need to have those sections and it needs to be available. However, that shouldn't be almost the entire GDC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of the times, like we get a lot of that. Hell, Capcom went up for GDC and had like an over an hour discussion on how they're going to combat, pirating in their PC games, pirating and cheating in their PC games because of what happened at that Capcom thing, or the fighting game tournament where the guy had the Chun-Li skin that came out bookie naked. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is like, if there was more transparency in the industry, if there was more discussion happening in the industry, if more of these developers were keeping each other honest, which is something that doesn't happen enough because anytime somebody speaks out about something, it immediately hits Twitter and turns into this storm of people. Oh, we work hard. We work hard on our games. We can't, I realize, like Emil said, I used to have harsh criticism, but then I realized how hard they work on it. What does that have to do with anything? I used to have harsh criticism, but now I silence myself. Now I censor myself because I know they work hard on it. So, I don't want to tell them they did a bad job.
I mean, what are we, their parents? They made a macaroni painting, and we have to be like, well, you know what? You did a really good job. You worked really hard on it. That makes no sense. Like, I don't know why I'm getting it. You're making me angry, Ian. Because
I can fire people up, man. So I'm a motivator is what it is. It's part of my, what is it, like my personality profile? I'm good at inspiring emotions. You know what I mean? It's what it's what I'm good at doing.
It's what I do.
It's what I do. It's what I do. I'm not good at working though. Is that what it's also what it told me? It said I want to get everybody else to do the work for me, and I'm really good at getting other people to do the work. So that's awesome.
Regular old Tom Sawyer.
Yeah. So with that, hey guys, if you guys haven't become members of the channel yet, you should also take the opportunity to do so. You guys get the use of some fancy emotes. There's going to be some exclusive content that I'll be releasing to members, as well as you get specific perks inside of our Discord, where you have a members-only lounge where we talk about all kinds of different topics and things like that. And yeah, it's going to be really cool and really interesting. So make sure you guys become members to the channel today. But
speaking of money,
oh no,
California has dropped its sexual harassment lawsuit against Activision Blizzard.
And there goes all the monetization on this video.
Yep.
You can't say that phrase.
Oh, sorry.
So I mean, we're out of luck now, but there's this matrix that I have to show you. There is 420 words that you have to avoid using when you're streaming or making YouTube videos.
420?
Yeah, and you just use 2 of them that are on the highest part of the list that calls for demonetization of a video.
I said Larry Harmon is what I said.
Yeah. You use the forbidden phrase.
So their lawsuit's being dropped for a settlement of $54 million. Within that settlement, $47 million is going to go to the women and...
I'm glad Chad got that joke, but yeah. Like, wait,
See,
what?
he got it. See, there we go. So 47 million of it's going to address the accusations of pay disparity and discrimination for the female employees, and in total, it's a whole $54 million. In the agreement, the California Civil Rights Department and Activision Blizzard, this is what they're going to say: no court or any independent investigation has substantiated any allegations. So, how do you get a clean slate? $54 million.
Man, Bobby opened up the purse, man. Hey, if you guys wanted to know why they released Modern Warfare 3, there it is. There it is. KP, thank you for the gifted sub, man. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah. That is that's exactly why they released Modern Warfare 3. It was definitely a cash grab for them to be able to pay off their debt, get their clean slate. They're now Microsoft owned, so things are going to be completely different now.
Oh, I forgot the tail end of that. I'm sorry. The settlement also said an investigation had not found evidence of wrongdoing by Activision board, its executive, or its chief executive, Robert Kotick.
Oh, so it's basically just clearing his name.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing. You know, where he said he was going to murder people. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot
That's
about
gone.
that whole thing. Yeah.
It's gone.
Out the window. Never happened, guys.
54 million.
Where do you think he's going to go to work next?
Microsoft.
Think so?
Yeah.
Like in charge of like gaming monetization or like financials for Xbox?
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that. There's a really good chance for that, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. He's not retiring anytime soon.
No, he's not retiring. Are you kidding me? What is he, like in his late 50s?
Yeah.
He's Gen X, so yeah, he's not super old. He's probably going to he'll probably revert to some position that they'll take him over and put him over on Xbox. Maybe he'll take like a year off just chilling on the yacht, you know what I mean?
He just hurt my heart a little bit there, buddy.
Why?
Because you just said he's Gen X. He's not that old.
Hey.
Guess who's also Gen X?
Yeah, I know. He's part of your generation.
This guy.
Your generation brought Bobby into the world. How do you feel about that?
My generation didn't bring Bobby into the world. My parents' generation did.
No. Yeah. So, I'm trying to think. What else did I see in the news this week? Was there anything else that was like super, super fancy?
No, I had some open topics to talk about, but it's just if you're in the mood.
Go ahead. Yeah, knock it out. Chat, actually, this is a really good opportunity for you guys too. If you guys have anything you want to talk about, this is time to bring it up. Make sure to use the little @ symbol and then legendary drops. And
let me get some water real quick.
Directly ping at us, and then I can we can look into whatever you guys want to talk about directly. If there's anything that's been interesting or specifically very tantalizing in the news lately and you wish to discuss it, we can talk about that right now. So I've been looking more into so I made a video about upcoming RPGs for 2024. Did you watch it?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Mid.
Did you you know what, there was one more thing I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
I forgot all about this. Holy.
We'll go there.
Holy, this is actually like a big piece of news. I mean, we already knew this was happening, but the official statement was never came out. Like this year's GDC or this year's E3 was canceled.
Oh yeah.
Right. This year's was canceled. However, the official announcement saying that E3 is now forever over. It's even on their website now. So if you go to their website, it says, after 2 decades of E3, each one bigger than the last, the time has come to say goodbye. Thanks for the memories.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I completely blame the ESA.
Thugnificent. Thank you for the membership. Welcome to the family.
Yeah, I 100% blame the ESA. They became greedy in the industry, charging all of your console makers and game developers so much money to get a booth at E3.
Yeah.
And then once, the whole internet's, they figured out, hey, we can make our own show without this cost. We don't really need E3.
Yeah, so I have some feelings about this. So part of me, one, is like Rip Bozo. I'm 100% on the side of Rip Bozo. because like the way that they handled E3 is bad, right? Like the way that they strong-armed studios and publishers and platforms into E3 was bad. And obviously, especially with the rise of the digital age where they could just stream everything on YouTube, it makes sense for any platform to want to just go on YouTube to do it. You know what I mean? Why would I do it anywhere else? Doesn't make any sense. We can save so much money and keep and potentially make money ourselves instead off of advertising.
You're talking millions of dollars spent to go to E3. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah. Like, and plus on top of that, the thing is, it's also the added pressure to make sure that you have a showing that is better than the other developers.
Yep.
Right. Now, here's my problem with it. Why I don't like the fact that E3 is gone is specifically because this was the pinnacle main point, the main place that we would go to for the biggest announcements that would be coming out for the entire year, right?
Yep.
And it used to be something that brought gamers together. Regardless of whatever platform we were on, everybody was excited for E3 because everybody was going to have their announcements. And that was when PlayStation people were watching Xbox and PlayStation people were watching Nintendo and vice versa. Xbox watching PlayStation and Nintendo watching PlayStation, and everybody was all together on it. It was something that we would all discuss over the summer and talk about all the cool new games that were coming out over the next few years and the new consoles that are coming out and things like that. And it was always a really exciting time for like my friends and I. And it was always an event that I looked forward to as somebody. Like one day I wanted to go to E3, and you and I had talked about it before when we first had started even dancing with the idea of making YouTube videos or a podcast or anything like that. And I feel like what this does is that now that all of these shows are segregated, it also serves to segregate those audiences and only continue to stoke the flames of like console boy fanism, where everybody is off in their own little bubbles, in their little echo chambers. You know, I'm watching the Starfield Direct. I'm watching the Xbox Direct. I'm watching my Nintendo Direct. And then what ends up happening instead is, and you see it all the time, by the way, if you go into the YouTube chats for any of these directs, all you see is the opposite fanboys in the chat, like just spamming like garbage to like, you know, piss off whatever that fanboy, like whatever, that group of fanboys is. Where I felt like E3 kind of brought those barriers down a little bit. I feel like over the years that we've done this whole like, segregated specials for each single platform, we've only served to, stoke the flames of conflict, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. My biggest, like, I'm sad because I did want to do an E3. We're going to have to end up going to PAX or something, I think. One of those type deals. But yeah, like, it's the end of an era, but there was just so much mismanagement. I mean, hell, that's what let Keeley slide in there with his own his E3-esque show that he does. You know what I mean? The summer game event.
Oh yeah, Summer Games Fest. Yeah,
so
that's true.
Like, it's allowed him to do that, and he got to taste a little bit of the bad part of ESA. That's why he backed away from doing the E3 stuff, and I think he has a much better relationship with the game developers. I don't know about after how he treated them on the Game Awards, but they want to work with him, you know what I mean, to show him stuff and whatever. I think like his platform, that Gamer Sumfest is going to Gamer Summer Games Fest is going
Words
to
are hard.
Words are real hard. Is going to take the place of that and get bigger and bigger. I still think Sony and Nintendo and Microsoft are all going to do their own separate shows, but I think a lot of those third-party games that aren't going to be shown at those three are going to be there. So,
yeah, I don't know, man. It still sucks, man. I don't know. I there's some people that like cheer it on. I'm not one of those people. It's not something that I'm going to cheer. I don't like to see anything like this, fall.
No, it was Christmas, man. It was Christmas every year. It was Christmas.
Yeah, it was always something to look forward to. I always really liked EA. And I'm sure there's people that are in the community as well.
You always liked EA.
EA. Oh, E3. Sorry, I have never liked EA. Actually, have I ever liked EA?
Yes, you did. NHL games.
I don't like them. I mean, I like the game because it's the only hockey game that you can play. It's not that I like EA for it because it's the same monetization they use in FIFA and all that other shit. It still has HUT and all that, Ultimate Team and all that stuff. Though I haven't played one of those in 2 years now.
Dark Hollow, I'll get to your question. That's actually part of one of my little talking points that I have.
We can hit some questions. Let's hit some chat stuff. Let's hit some chat stuff. Ultra Pouring says, oh no, actually Wooly before that. Wooly says, did Starfield spend the last of Bethesda's goodwill, or did Fallout 76 and the lack of new Elder Scrolls games get them? So here's the thing. I actually don't think that Bethesda specifically can spend all of their goodwill, because that would mean that Blizzard has spent all of theirs, right? And for some odd reason, like, they still can release games and make record profits, right?
Yep. People who love Bethesda games will continue to love Bethesda games.
When Elder Scrolls 6 releases, expect it to be the highest selling game of that year, regardless if it's good or not. It won't matter, because people are just going to want to play it. People are just going to want to buy it. It's simple as that, guys. I hate to say it like that, but this is one of the reasons why I make videos like the way that I do. This is the reason why we have the podcast and stuff like that, because hopefully over time we grow and continue to spread the message of stop buying things day one. Stop buying things day one. And start looking at some of these companies in a way that you can't necessarily trust all of them. And sometimes, I hate to say it, but even the companies that you can trust today, we may not be able to trust tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I love Larian Studios, and I believe that they're going to continue to create great games, and they've done everything to impress me. But at one point in time, Sven Vinka is not going to be the guy running the company anymore. And can I trust whoever that new guy is? I don't know. You know what I mean? And that's what happens with a lot of these companies. The reason why a company like Larian today is so successful and has so much goodwill is because they have held on to all of their talent over the years since they started making games. And you have this compounding interest of these employees that have continued to do well, and these reiterations on their base software, on their engines, and how they write stories and how they make mechanics and all that stuff. And over time, that's what creates excellence, because these people are used to working with each other. They know how each other work. They have a unified idea of what their quality standard is, and that's both in regards to the game itself as well to the community too, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. However, that goes away when new leadership comes in and people retire and stuff like that. So companies change over time. So you can only trust them as far as you can buy their game today. Yep. So regardless, we have to get in this, we have to stop buying things day one. I bought Baldur's Gate day 0, but I bought Baldur's Gate because it had already been out for a few days in early access. I already liked, and then I played it, and I enjoyed what I played for early access, and then I stuck with the game ever since then, right? That can still be the same for games that are released in early access, just as the same as it can be for games that are released today. You want to take Ultra Pouring? Go on.
Ultra Pouring. Yeah. Let's see. Not directly game related, but popped up on my Twitter feed. Did you know Sony got a clause in the TOS forbidding the resale of your disc based on non-disc games? I didn't.
What does that mean?
I like
forbidding the resale of your disc-based games and non-disc-based games. Well, you can't resell games that you bought digitally.
Yeah, well, that's a no-brainer. But what they're doing, I believe, is a DRM that's attaching the disc to your account. Maybe
that'd be crazy,
wouldn't it?
Ooh, that'd be crazy. I have to look into that. That'd be wild.
Yeah, that's something we might talk about. I'll research it and we'll talk about it on the next podcast.
Dark Hollow says, so Embracer has continued to close down many studios after the botched Saudi deal. Is there any hope for Deus Ex devs and others to get picked up by Microsoft or other publishers? I'll let you answer that. You're all up in that Embracer business.
Yeah. So there was an opinion article, Dark Hollow. It was called 2023 the best year in gaming, with a question mark. But it also has the highest in layoffs across the industry.
Yep.
And we're talking like post 1980s, right? The mid 80s, when there was the big video game crash. Embracer, just in the second half of this year, has laid off over 1,000 people. The last two hit were 3D Realms, which is a no-brainer. I get that one. And the game that was working on Tempest Rush, the studio working on them, I can't remember their name. A lot of that is across the board, though. Microsoft did layoffs. Sony's done layoffs. The only people I know that hasn't is Nintendo, but almost every studio has done layoffs. Almost every studio has done some form of layoffs. And this guy kind of breaks it down into, I'm going to answer your question. I know I'm getting off topic, but he really goes into what happened, like with Embracer, for instance, is a lot of these companies, they took in a lot of the investment during the pandemic because the money was there with the zero interest rate. And now those interest rates are starting to hit. So they're having, like, it's like when they run a deal on your car and you don't have any payments for 6 months, it's time to start making payments on that interest and so they're starting to trim back. What this guy's question, what his theory is that it's not going to, because like 2023, we had a lot of good quality games come out. We really did. A lot of good quality games.
We did.
That's going to drop off because they're losing the talent from these studios. So that's gonna drop off.
Well,
but
do you
anyway,
think that's across the board with all of the studios? Or I don't think so. Not all of them. I think it depends on the level of success those studios found, right?
Yeah, it does. But to answer Dark Hollow's question, I don't think Sony or Microsoft are done buying studios. I kind of wish they were and would just come out with the games from the studios that they purchased. You know what I mean? And kind of see where that goes. Like, take it a lot slower. Because what'll happen is they'll get all of these studios in there. The studio will be making a game, and then it won't be that good, right? But they're in this kind of debt ceiling deal of, we've bought all these deals, we need to get all these studios, we need to get all these games out, and the game's not good, they're gonna end up just closing the studio anyway, right? They'll just cancel the project.
Yeah. And to be fair too, the thing is, you look at Embracer specifically, and a lot of the projects that they had, most of them were half-baked to begin with.
They are. They are some shit games, yeah.
Like, genuinely, like, there just wasn't a lot of really good projects, and most of them really didn't have the I just didn't see a lot of them being anything near a success. Well, there's a lot of games that were kind of relying on nostalgia more than anything else. Mm-hmm. The actual talent behind that team just really wasn't there. It's like they had the IP, but they gave it to a studio that just wasn't equipped to be able to deal with delivering a AAA experience for that game and for that IP, if that makes any sense. So I feel like it's both them over investing in resources, and then also at the exact same time under investing resources in the projects themselves. Yeah. So they bought up all this talent, bought up all these IPs, but then didn't have any talent to actually really back it up because they were trying to buy everything on the cheap.
Yeah, and a lot of the good devs left those studios when they got purchased.
Yes.
The heads of them, Embracer didn't want to pay the heads.
Yeah, and this goes back to exactly what I was talking about with Larian Studios, and one of the things that led to their major success with Baldur's Gate 3 is specifically because they had all these people that had all this compounding interest of all of these of all this talent, all these people that were adding into what made Baldur's Gate 3 so incredible, because it's everything that they've learned from Divinity Dragon Commander to on and forward, Divinity Original Sin 1, Original Sin 2, and then you have Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, you have a lot of experience, a lot of talent, and a lot of people that haven't left, and you don't have that in a lot of these other companies right now. Moving on, apparently Unity laid off another 1,000 employees. Yeah, I saw that recently too. There was another big layoff actually that Embracer just had, didn't they? They had 2 more studios they shut down.
Yeah, 3D Realms and I think it's Iron Gate or something. It's something like that. One of those.
I looked at the portfolios for both. Neither of them had anything that I was like, oh my god, that's gone now. 3D
Realms
used
is
to be good.
It's a nostalgia
deal.
deal. Yeah,
well,
when they took
kind of thing.
17 years to put out Duke Nukem, that kind of hurt their stock.
Yeah, making sure I'm not skipping anybody here.
So Ultra Pouring, they responded, resell 7.1. You must not resell either disc-based games or digital games unless expressly authorized by us. If the publisher is another company, additionally by the publisher. So they're saying that I can't buy a game and then sell it to Ian, like a hard disk. That's stupid. How would they even police that? How would they even police that?
I don't know, dude. That's like.
Well, no, you know what? It makes sense. Like I said, I bet it is. I bet because discs come out now. They don't actually have the game on there. You have to download the game.
It's just
so you're getting a key.
It's
a key. Yeah, they're selling you the key, so that key would not be usable.
Yeah, well, it's the same way where like I feel like the Japanese companies, specifically Japanese game developers, are getting a big hard on for clamping down on modding and things like that. And it's just like it's completely misdirected. It's like misdirected rage because they just want to make sure that they're trying to maintain whatever the image is of their company because they want to make sure that people continue to buy their games. Like the fact that Capcom even came forward and said, "Oh, well, we're afraid that people are going to see that nude Chun-Li and go, oh, well, maybe that's part of the game," and then they're gonna buy the game, or not gonna buy the game. They're gonna not buy the game because they think that that's something that Capcom is okay with. And it's like, that's not something that you can police. That's not something in your wheelhouse. And by clamping down on modding and stuff like that, you're only going to lead to more headaches because from my experience, the better the modding community that you have for a game, the more successful your game ends up being in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get where they're coming from initially, that it happened at a Capcom event. So they, ultimately are responsible for it. You know what I mean? But like what people do in their homes, what they do in their home, right? So
yeah. Hilarious as Sony doesn't understand. There's and the thing is that I was gonna make a whole video about this whole thing that's going down with Capcom right now. It's gone relatively under the radar, but Capcom's basically doing the same thing that Nintendo did, which is when they find content of people publicly modding, they've been shutting them down. They've been going after content creators, specifically YouTube channels, demonetizing them, giving them copyright strikes, the whole 9 yards. If you're caught modding in their game, like there was a popular content creator that was making Zelda content, Tears of the Kingdom, right? And he was using mods. Nintendo saw that. They gave him copyright strikes, almost took his channel down completely. Literally threatening people's ways of life over something as childish as mods in a game. And Capcom's now doing the exact same thing. They're going after speedrunners because speedrunning is because speedrunners use a lot of things that are exploits, and they also, and Capcom views exploits as cheats as well, or as exploiting their game. It's like, well, that's in your own code. Like, what do you like? This is ridiculous. They're going after mods specifically, and the funny thing is, like, there's even content creators that you couldn't even tell that they were using mods in their video. Sometimes they were just using mods for the intro of their video. Like they make characters like look like they're talking to you or something like that. And they would list those mods in the description of their video. If Capcom saw that, they would issue a claim on that and say, take it down. And there's been a few YouTube channels that have been completely shut down as a result of that. There's a few of them that are in danger of losing their channel. And we're talking about channels that have 700,000 plus subscribers. We're not talking about small fry. We're talking about big fish. And it's just ridiculous to see that because one, it doesn't make you're not attacking what you should. To be honest, if I was Capcom, I'd be leaning into it. Oh yeah, these people are such simps for my game that they're making these like, big butt mods for Resident Evil and stuff like that. Like, yeah, like let them do it because all it's going to do is make people want to go play that game or be involved in those
and do that mod.
and
You
do
know what
that
I mean?
mod.
Like,
They're not gonna pirate your game to do it. They're gonna play your game to do it. They'll pirate your game if you want to increase the price to $100. Like Capcom's CEO came out and said he wanted games should be $100. But outside of that, yeah, no, it's just it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, man. It really doesn't, because modding communities mean a lot to a game's longevity. Look at a game like Skyrim. It's still popular today. Why? Because the modding community is alive, creating all kinds of stuff, transforming the game into a completely different experience than what it is. Baldur's Gate 3 is a game that, well, I mean, one, it's going to live on for a really long time because of the fact that it has just so much content to begin with. But beyond that, it's also because the modding community hasn't even gotten started yet, guys. We don't even have official mod tools yet. Yeah. That could be the other announcement, actually. That could be what they're saying. We're
mod
releasing
tools?
the dev kit.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go level 20. Let's do this.
And we're talking like a legit level 22.
Yeah,
right?
with spells.
Like, yeah. We're like they'll probably figure out a way to be able to like balance combat, maybe even add in more encounters and stuff like that. Yeah, what's the modding tool? But like that's an example of it. Look at how excited the community is around Baldur's Gate 3 for just waiting for the mod tools to get out. We don't even use the tools ourselves. We're just waiting for really creative and smart people to go and make stuff for us to play. So it just blows my mind when I see a company trying to push back against something like that over something as petty and as something as ridiculous as, oh, somebody forgot to turn their mods off at a gaming tournament and it went viral as a result.
Yeah.
North says Wizards of the Coast would be stupid not to try to work with Larian on making Dungeon Master tools for Baldur's Gate 3. I don't think it's necessary for Larian specifically to work on Dungeon Master tools. If the community wants it, the community is going to make it themselves once we have access to the dev
code.
kit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It will not rely on Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast isn't their property. All right, Wizard of the Coast.
You guys ever have this problem? You can't find the hole?
Yeah, she usually puts it in for me. Wooly Ram asks, speaking of layoffs, how do you think Hasbro, because Hasbro just did some layoffs, on pivoting Wizards of the Coast to digital D&D, tabletop, and Vidya?
What about it?
How do you think Hasbro intends on pivoting Wizard of the Coast to digital instead of paper?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
They've been. I know. I think late last year, they put out some videos of the digital D&D that they are building. You know what I mean? Like
but they haven't released it yet, right?
They haven't released.
Like
I don't think they released it yet.
I think the best way for you to play right now is what, Roll20?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is that all they have to do is just make a better Roll20. And with the amount of money and resources they have, they could easily just make a better Roll20. Or they could have just bought Roll20 and then just use that as the framework to make a better system. Personally, that's what I would have done.
Jackie says join the Discord community. It's a good question, Jackie. I appreciate it.
Hey, join the Discord. Join as a channel member. Get access to really cool emotes. Like, oh, I can't use them. I'm on my. I don't have my browser up. I have to have my other browser up to do that one. Where are my emotes? I want my emotes.
See, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I know Larian paid for the licensing to use the world of BG3, but the actual product isn't under, from what I understand, isn't under any terms or what is it? Like Wizards of the Coast has nothing to do with the game itself. Does that make sense? Like the property.
Yeah.
They just have rights to the name. So what they do with their coding, I think, is their business. It's not Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, and Tim, I actually agree with that. I think the D&D digital is only going to work if it's something that's easy for people to play with. Because the thing is that we have to realize is that especially over this last year, with now the massive popularity of Baldur's Gate 3, you're going to have even more people that are interested in playing playing D&D. And actually the thing is that you've had a lot of people, a lot of DMs that have come out specifically and said, I get people that are coming to our games now that are asking, hey, this works in Baldur's Gate. Does this work in 5e? Can I throw potions at people? Can I do this? You know what I mean? And while that was something you could do in Baldur's Gate, you can't really do in 5e. So I do really think that as long as they make something that's accessible, more people are going to get involved in it. I really want to look into, after the first of the year, I want to look into getting a D&D campaign going on the channel.
Okay.
I would say once a week. Okay. We'll reach out to Fonz, I think. See if he might be interested. Yeah, he ain't got a job either right now.
You think he'd nerd out? Because he likes to do voice acting. You think he'd really get into it?
I'll voice act too.
I'm doing it.
Yeah. I'll voice act too.
I'll dress Pickles up in like a little barbarian bikini.
Yeah,
it'll be all right.
Yeah. So in the Discord, we're taking applications for a skilled DM that can take us on an adventure. Okay. Take us on an adventure in we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, barbarian pugs. They were, what was that movie? They were bred to take down lions. So
yeah, barbarian pugs. Oh my god! For a second there, I thought this said barbarian plugs, and I was like,
ouch.
Let me turn right.
No, that would be so dope.
Let me turn my rage on real quick.
I can't. Oh, I'm dying. Oh shit. Oh my god. Oh my god.
like you're starting a lawnmower.
Yeah, just like a John Deere. Just get that bad boy. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. I'm crying right now.
Right.
Okay. Beyblade time. Jackie, don't. Yeah. Oh. Jesus.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good one.
All right. I got a topic real quick, and I kind of want to get the chat's feel on it. What y'all's opinion of what this topic is. Because I keep seeing it like whatever media outlet you look at, it's X Studio shuts down X game servers. That closed down, January 2024. Should gamers themselves no, we don't need Jesus Woolley. You mind your business. Should gamers and the media make such a large deal about games shutting down their servers? Because we've moved into a games as a service area where there's a lot of games that are services, and the game that I'm talking that brought this up was The Crew, right? It came out in 2014, so in 10 years it finally shut down the servers. The reason that they're shutting down their servers is because nobody is playing the game. So should you be upset or should you not be upset? Because if you've purchased any kind of in-game purchase, it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Kyle brings it up perfectly. Yeah. Publishers should be obliged to release the tools to the community to run their own servers, if that's the case. And I think that's something that doesn't end up happening, right? And this is something that the World of Warcraft community got a lot of heat for in the past, because there were people that started classic servers, and it was very popular for people to play on classic servers. And then Blizzard clamped down on it up until the time that they actually released Classic World of Warcraft, when they finally realized, oh, there's a large group of people that really want to do this. So I do believe, I think it should be a situation in which you should have people that are coming in and they're going to run their own servers if they want to. So if the game does want to stay alive, it can. But at that point in time, your game has already made enough money. You're obviously done with it because you're going to shut the servers down. Just hand the tools over to the community. Let them do whatever they want. If they want to make their own private servers where they add a bunch of crazy stuff to the game, or sometimes you'll even see there's MMOs that are out there right now. I cannot remember the name of it. It was one that was going to be popular or tried to be popular during the WoW killer phase. It had like guns. I think it started with an A. I cannot remember the name of this MMO, but there's this one MMO that still has private servers where there is a community. Wildstar. Thank you. Giant penguin with the dunk. Good Lord.
That was a two-handed backwards.
Bro, I like how you guys immediately pulled out exactly what I was looking for. Wildstar still has private servers that are up and people that are constantly adding content to it.
Yeah, but
I'd genuinely be really interested in going and checking out and playing.
So are like hardware, where are they using their own PC as the server?
No, chances are what it is since it's community driven, Wildstar probably has the community that plays the game donate to keep the servers up and also donate for the team to be able to continue to work on the game and make stuff. And by the team, I mean modders, like indie guys that have taken over the game since the game was abandoned.
That's where I'm getting at. It's just I get it, shutting down servers for games. I mean that hardware rental, you know what I mean, or whatever. Just the energy. If
you have a new game coming out and you have a dead game that the server's still up, shut the server down. There's no reason for you to keep it running. I don't disagree with that. However, the players have still paid for that game. If there are players that are still playing it, then you need to hand that over to that community for them to be able to continue on with it if they are passionate enough to keep it up in the first place.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure it was Wildstar was the one that I'm thinking of. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that there's Wildstar private servers. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's the game. Like there's a game that people are continuing to add content to, and I'm almost 100% sure that's Wildstar.
I was reading
yes, there is. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. There's a Nexus Forever project is what it's called. Oop, shit, I just hit the wrong button. There we go.
We're still here.
What?
I said we're still here. Yeah, I was reading an article that Hogwarts Legacy is because it's now out on all three platforms, or actually all four platforms. They expect the game, like sales wise, to start to reach into that higher stratosphere of copies sold. I wouldn't say Grand Theft Auto 5, but the article did say Grand Theft Auto 5. There's no way they're going to make that many sales.
No. But that IP sells.
The IP has sold extremely well.
And it also proves if you make a good game with that IP, it will sell to an even wider audience than normal.
Yeah.
You're not just going to get the fans. You're going to get the people that are like, hey, man, this is a cool looking Magic game. I'm going to play it. Yeah. And the funny thing is, to be honest, like, it was a good game. It wasn't an incredible game. It wasn't a game of the year game, in my opinion. It should have been up for awards, even though it wasn't.
I think it should have been up for awards. I mean, I enjoyed it, but like it should have been up for something, something. But like I said, it shouldn't be like what's represented. It should just be like what's the best games, which it reviewed well. So I don't understand why it didn't meet that criteria either. So.
Yeah, it's really odd. Yeah, I think the whole I hate to say it, but I think the reason why it didn't get an award and it wasn't even a part of the conversation was because they were probably just trying to dodge controversy.
Yeah.
They just didn't want to itch that open that wound back up. Yeah. I think that's really what it has to do with anything. And that's the reason why they probably just didn't want to even get anywhere near it. They didn't want to bring that whole thing back up again and start that whole discussion. They just wanted to stay away from it entirely and just kind of move on. Like, yep, it's a great game for the people that wanted to play it. Let's not talk about it.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen. That thing, no, don't worry about that thing. Yeah, no. So yeah, that's a whole fucking thing, man. There was something else that I wanted to talk about today. and I don't remember what it was. Let's talk about a game.
Okay.
I think every week what we should do is we should end the show with a game that we're looking forward to in 2023 and talk about it
in 2023.
4.
Okay.
4.
4.
4.
Okay.
4. That we a game that we're looking forward to next year. And so I recently had put out a video talking about, if you guys haven't gone and watched it, I put out a video that's talking about the biggest, best, chunkiest upcoming games that are going to be coming out for 2024. And there's some really cool ones that are coming out. And one of the ones that I am genuinely really excited for is Phantasy Star Relink.
Grand
I
Blue?
really am. And I've been excited for this game for quite a while now because it really...
Did you say Phantasy Star?
Did I say Phantasy Star?
You said Phantasy Star.
It's because it's on my screen. I see Phantasy Star. I'm sorry. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. My bad. Dude, we're 2 hours in, man. This is
my brain is shut off.
Yeah. This is when it all starts falling apart, man. This is when it goes off the wheels, dog.
Well, Phantasy Star Relinked in 2023 is going to be a great game to play. Okay, guys. This game being online co-op, 4-player co-op, I think is baller. That is like super smart. Like I'm so like I get playing the single player experience, but man, like when I get to play it with my buddies, it is a much better experience. It just is a much better experience. You have way more fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, this game looks amazing, by the way.
So to give background on folks that may not know anything about this game, one, it is an anime inspired RPG. So it's cel shaded graphics, which I'm gonna let you guys know, and you're gonna hear about it again and again and again. I'm a huge fan of cel shaded graphics. I think it holds up way better over time than most games do. Like these games just continue to look good and continue to play good as a result of it. They also upscale better than most games do as well. I just kind of like the look of it, like the for the artistic value. But I like the aesthetics of the game. I've watched Grand Blue. It's good. I like the story. So it has a solid story background. You have a major variety in different weapons and fighting styles that are going to be in the game. Characters that are using firearms, characters that are using their fists, single blade, sword and shield, daggers, magic, literally anything, you name it. It's in the game. What I really like about it is that it's basically like, it's a full price title. I'm going to say that before I say anything else because people keep getting this confused when they see how the game plays and how you get multiple characters and stuff.
Yeah.
But this is a full price title. This is going to be a $60, $70 game, how much ever it's going to be released for. And
100.
Yeah, no microtransactions. The developers came out and said there's going to be no microtransactions related to the game. They don't even have any plans for DLC yet. And it has 16 plus characters that you can recruit. And it looks like it plays like a Genshin Impact with far more bells and whistles with the combat. A ton of different interactions where you can do like link strikes, where you can link up with other characters to do dual attack moves. You can even do like a quadruple attack move, like super attack with all 4 characters together. Each character has their own their own build progression, their own move sets that you get to tailor to however you want to play with them. And the best part about it is that you can actually unlock characters in whatever order you want. So if there's a specific character that you want, like, I don't know, if you're somebody, I don't know anybody like this, but if you're somebody that likes to have like a party of like 4, like real thick, real juicy, like waifu type of, thing, whoever would like that, you could have that, and you could have it immediately. You don't got to wait. You can just go mommy, 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 and then bam, you're playing the game. So, so they got a really cool upgrading weapon, weapon upgrade system as well, where you can be able to upgrade your weapons and weapon evolutions and stuff like that. The one thing that I'm kind of like, is that it's going to be like hub based.
Yeah, like Monster Hunter World.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So you'll choose to go on like a chapter. So like, oh man, hey, we're gonna go do this chapter. We're gonna go farm this chapter real quick or whatever it is.
That's fine. It just gives us replayability. That's all.
Yeah. They said it's gonna be 20 to 30 hours of main story, and there's an additional 20 to 40 of side quests.
That's fair.
So I think that's pretty solid. When I see games like this, I always wish they have like end game systems, and that's my main worry for it, is like whether or not it has any end game systems, because this is a game that I would totally like to like farm some shit out on, especially if it's multiplayer. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, there's some bosses that we want to like take on, some like secret bosses or something like that, especially since it's a hub system anyway.
Yeah,
like being able to like level up your characters, find better gear, stuff like that. Like, yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, that would be super cool. Like I said, I'm looking forward to just the co-op aspect of it. And you're right. I also feel like this type of art style is easier to optimize too. You know what I mean? I just feel like it is. Because
I've never ran into a problem where these games have performed poorly on PC. I loved hub base like Guild Wars 1 and Warframe. Yeah,
Guild Wars 1
I don't mind it.
North. Guild Wars 1's right in my heart.
Yeah, Mark is a Guild Wars 1 OG.
Best necro in gaming.
Yeah, I still need to play Guild Wars 2, like give it a real shot, because a lot of people have like are really mad that I haven't.
And I think it's like it's such a departure from 1. Like, it is such a departure. Yeah. And it became such a free to play type game. You know what I mean? That it just doesn't feel. It's not this. I don't know. It wasn't the same feel for me.
The people that love it.
So
like the people that love Guild Wars 2 love it, dude. Like they love it. Like I would probably say equally, if not the same as like Final Fantasy fans, like bend over backwards for Final Fantasy 14. Meanwhile, World of Warcraft fans are like, don't play my game. We don't want you to play it, noob.
I'm the same with No Beats. 2 was just way too far from 1. Like it didn't even feel like the same universe.
Really?
I mean, it's out there.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what the new player experience is today.
So are we gonna come up with a new game every podcast?
Yeah.
So
you're
just gonna feature
every podcast. Yeah.
Okay. Well, mine's gonna be Avowed. That's the
why would you surprise? You're supposed to surprise people.
We both have to have a game. We both have to have a game
today. Oh, all right, fine. Go ahead. Tell me about Avowed, Mark.
So, has anybody in the chat played any of the Pillars of Eternity games? If so, I would like to know what your thoughts on those are. I like the world. I don't. Their combat and stuff isn't like my favorite of any of the CRPGs, but the world and the storytelling in it's really, really good. So Avowed's got me super, super excited. I know it's a first-person hack and slash. It's made by Obsidian, which is a baller-ass studio. So that's the one that I'm excited about.
I've gotten a lot of comments of people saying that, yeah, but this Obsidian's not the Obsidian that you know.
It's the exact same Obsidian.
Yeah, but they said specifically the one that you know, Mark.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they told me to make sure that you know that you're wrong.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. No, I said it in the video that I made. I actually, while there are people that have a pretty considerable amount of doubt, the cloud of doubt over Avowed, to be honest, as somebody that really I loved Grounded, I still want to play. I still need to play more of it. And that was just a fun side project that they wanted to work on. And Xbox gave them the freedom to and said, hey, yeah, I know that looks really cool. Go ahead and make it. And they're like, oh, really? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. And they're like, all right. Well, and if they were able to have the creative freedom to make something as cool as Grounded, well, then I think they're probably going to do just fine making Avowed.
Yep. I think they're going to be fine. And like I said, they're going to be working in their own world. You know what I mean? It's not like they have to abide by any rules.
Yeah, and that was something that was in a there was a developer interview that they had with the people from Obsidian, where they're like, initially this is supposed to be our take on Skyrim, because they've already obviously done their takes on Fallout in the past, right? But that was when they were under that umbrella.
The best,
which
Fallout.
was the better Fallout, yeah, arguably, yeah, for sure. However, at the same time, like, did you like Outer Worlds?
No. Don't get me wrong. There's things that I like about it, Outer Worlds, like the humor and charm in that game, fantastic.
Yeah,
it's
I think they
fantastic.
nailed that in a non-cringe way. Yeah.
Yes, I just got bored with it, and I think it's the Bethesda style, which they kind of follow that same kind of Bethesda style a little bit. On Outer Worlds, just the kind of way the game plays and stuff that I don't know. I'm just kind of over that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't know, man. Like, Outer Worlds was a game that I was really excited for because I thought it was going to be really, really good. And I just bounced right off of it. Like, I played it. I put like probably 30 hours into it and was like, man, I don't know, dude. It's just not, I don't know.
It's not grabbing you.
It's just not grabbing me. Like, it was just like, I don't know. It just felt really generic. Like the questing and stuff was kind of dumb. Some of the conversations and stuff were funny or interesting. Yeah. But for the most part, it was just like the game didn't take itself serious enough. Yeah. For me to like really be like to be able to invest myself in it. And like the gameplay didn't really jump out at me. Build variety or being able to build your characters in certain ways didn't really jump out at me. And the other thing is too, is that when it comes to games that are first person shooter, like first person RPGs, like it's so rare for these games to do well with like melee combat. And most times in these kind of games, I want to do melee. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And none of that, like Skyrim, while I played the garbage out of that game, like Bethesda's terrible at melee combat. Yeah. Horrible. Like melee in that game was bad. Like it just was bad. Just like it was bad in Starfield. Just like it was, and then obviously this is Obsidian, but it's really difficult to find first person games that have good melee combat. Like we still haven't hit that evolution yet where we can get a really good first person melee experience. And I'm still waiting for that.
What's that? Is it Shadow? I'm gonna pull it up real quick.
Gunplay isn't good either. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like if your melee is not gonna be good.
The gunplay was floaty. It was floaty Fallout style, and I just don't like it.
Well, and I think the reason why they do that is to make sure that you're not like completely overpowered. But the problem is, and that genuinely that's what it is. They do it in Starfield and Outer Worlds did the same thing. A lot of those first person RPGs make your aim floaty, so then it like limits the amount of damage that you can do and how accurate you can be, so you're not just absolutely busted and just hitting the weak spot of enemies over and over and over again until they die. Where they don't realize that third person shooters have done a better job is like using an example like Remnant, right? Remnant just makes it where enemies have really unique mechanics that make you have to move around. So then you have to reevaluate your aim all the time, which means that you're not just completely drilling weak points. You know what I mean? Like that's what you do. You don't just make it where my aim just suddenly doesn't work anymore. No, you make unique mechanics for each enemy rather than they just run up and go, Rah!
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it is called Shadow Warrior. It's first person melee's all right. I don't know. It's just weird. You're right. It's hard to pull off because first person you're really limited on the animations of what you can do. You know what I mean? So like rolling in first person is not fun for you to physically do. Like visually watching it happen, it's gonna make you sick. Dashing become an issue, but your weapons, you've only got so many angles that you're just gonna see over and over and over again. There's just not a whole lot to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think Starfield nailed it, just knocked it out the park. So
yeah, Starfield's everything knocked it out of the park.
I mean, you know what? I don't know. I've played a lot of games, but I've never made one, so I don't even know why I'm even commenting on games.
I'm actually kind of disappointed in you that you are in the first place, to be honest. I think you should probably be publicly shamed. Drawn and quartered.
Or even worse, canceled.
I can make that happen.
Oh, man.
So, well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this has been an absolutely fantastic podcast, and I do really appreciate everybody showing up. I'm going to go ahead and I'll stream a little bit later tonight. Probably in about... What? Who said something? Somebody said some bullshit, didn't they?
Dark Hollow.
What?
The punishment, you should have to
be
use
the
a barbarian blood.
Oh my god. I appreciate everybody that joined as a channel member today. I'm going to be streaming after this podcast. I'm going to give myself a little hour break. Give me some little something to eat. And then I guess we're going to continue the Dark Urge 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Deuce.
Yeah. So if you guys are interested in watching me play some Baldur's Gate 3 tonight, I'll be on a little bit later, streaming right here on YouTube and continuing the Dark Urge and the Honor Mode. Hopefully I won't die. So there's that. Make sure you guys join the Discord if you guys haven't. Become channel members if you'd like to. You guys get access to emotes and a bunch of other stuff. Really cool content I'm going to add later. Early access to videos when they get posted. And it also supports me.
Yeah, we had a lot of viewers today. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you guys for stopping by. Podcast will not be happening next week.
Yeah, it
it's
will.
Christmas.
It will.
I'm not going to be here.
It's Christmas Eve. It's not Christmas.
I'm not going to be here.
You've got a laptop.
Bye.
Hey,
So-
yeah, yes. Have a great holiday, guys. We'll
Yes.
see you in the new year with some new plug jokes. So
Christmas
good to
plugs.
go.
Christmas plugs
Christmas
all
plugs.
around. Everybody have a fantastic holiday. Stay cool. Stay righteous. Stay safe, my friends. And we will see you in the next podcast.